In this blocks CAD tutorial, we're going to do what looks like a pattern using toruses. So depending on the type of torus or the parameters on the torus, you're going to get some different patterns, right? So if we go and we change, let's say on the torus right here, we change a couple of things. You'll never really know what you're going to get, so you just have to play around with it. So in this case, let's change the sides and just the sides, increase the sides a little bit and see what we have, right? So there goes. There you go. Maybe try something else, changing the faces, possibly, right? There are other things here too, but right now I'm just concentrating, see what I get with the torus, right? So they're something a little bit different. Okay. Let's try one more. It took a few seconds. So I would recommend just at the end of this, just play around with it. You'll get some interesting patterns. So let's get started. We need some variables, and the first variable is um, the number. We're going to make a torus pattern first, one of them, okay? So we need to know how many toruses we need, so that's the steps. You'll see how these are used as we start the program part, right? We need to do some rotations, right? One of them is going to be the Y angle, another one is going to be Z angle, you'll see again, and also we need to move this torus away from the center a little bit, and that is the X distance. Okay, so let's make the torus, right? So the torus has some variables here. Right now it's pretty small way out there, right? So we can increase the size of that and move it from the center. First of all, let's move it from the center. So that's what the translate is for. So you see it moved way back there, right? Next is to rotate a little bit. So we're going to use the variable X angle, right, or Y angle, sorry. And you'll see what it did, it rotated around the Y axis. So it raised it up a little bit. If we increase the radius of the torus, it'll be a little more pronounced. There it is. So I think that's a better number, 40. Okay. So the next thing is we need to rotate it around a pivot point. So to rotate around a pivot point, you need something called fancy rotate. And you choose the angle of rotation and also the pivot point. So in this case, we'll use Z angle, and I think that goes in that first slot, yeah. And the pivot point will be around the origin, 0, 0. So what that does, it rotates rotates around that Z axis, right? So it's not straight, it's a little bit rotated. Okay. Let's make a few of these, right? So we want to make more of them, and we want to rotate each one that we make a different angle. So we have to use a formula. So we're going to use I, our loop, times the Z angle. So it'll be different for every torus. It didn't seem like anything happened there, but it's because of these numbers. You have to change the numbers, and you see. So something we are rotating, but what you get just depends on the type of torus that you get. So here we go. Now let's add some color. So we'll do RGB. We'll declare a couple of variables. We'll make them random, and we'll set the variables for each color, R, G, and B. Okay, let's see what we got. What we have here. So we should get a random color every time we render. Let's make this into a function, right? So we can reuse some code here. So we make it into a function called Torus. And as you can see, this really doesn't change anything, right? But it's now a function. And now we can make a few more of these, right? So we can now do another loop, a J loop, and we'll do 8 of them, right, in this case. And we'll do another fancy rotate around the origin. And we need a formula again here using J, and the angle will be 45. So we need to rotate a different angle every time we make a torus. So let's see. Okay, so there they are. Again, you could play around with some of these numbers, angles, and everything, right? See what's different. But I want to change and make each torus a different color, right? So what I have to do is move the color inside the loop, and this way, each torus will have a different color. So let's see how that looks, right? Okay, that's pretty wild. So play around with the options and see what you get.